Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Matthew Street channel. I'm your host, Matthew Street, and welcome to another episode of the Beatles Album Spotlight Series. Folks, for this episode, we're going to be going to the world of imports. And for this one, I've selected an album called The Beatles in Italy. Now, you're probably like me. When I first saw this album in a little shop in my later years in the Air Force, when I was in the service, I was in a little shop that had imports. And I saw the Beatles in Italy, and I saw this great image with the black background of the Beatles at the Washington Coliseum in full color. And I was drawn to it. I said, wow, is this the Beatles in Italy live? No, folks, this is not a live album. It's a compilation album that was put together, very popular for Parlophone, by the way. It did well overseas, but it was released in 1965 to commemorate the Italian leg of the Beatles' 1965 world or European tour. World tour, actually. They played in Milan, Rome, and Genoa in June of 1965. And so this album was put out. It compiled a group of singles and EP tracks. It originally came out on just mono. And it was, like I said, originally on Parlophone. And it was to commemorate that tour of Italy. Now, I love the front cover. However, I've always really loved the back cover of the Beatles in Italy. That image has always been striking to me. I think I'm going to use it as my thumbnail, actually, for this video. And it had a beautiful gatefold, showing a couple of images of the Beatles live there. And then you get what I believe is a nice way to show the track listing. I hope that's translating for you. But I'm going to read them to you anyway. Folks, in my album Spotlight series, if I don't actually give you the track listing during the video, they'll always will be in the description box. I will put the track listing of every album that I'm talking about. But for this one, listen to this. This was a great compilation album, and I love it to this day. Side 1, Long Tall Sally, She's a Woman, Matchbox, Ringo gets a cut. From Me to You, I Want to Hold Your Hand, and Ticket to Ride. Flip it over, and I can show you what it looks like. Here's the label. Mine's an 80s copy. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Mine's not original. Mine's an 80s version that came out in the early 80s. Side 2 is This Boy, Slow Down, I Call Your Name, Thank You Girl, Yes It Is, and I Feel Fine rounds out side 2. What a great little compilation album. Like I said, I discovered it in a shop. I was drawn to the cover. I was drawn to the gatefold. I was drawn to the track list of this album. Even though it was stuff that I pretty much had everything already in probably multiple formats. But because of just the whole look of this album and the way it was put together, I had to have it. And I remember playing this with friends of mine back at our Air Force base where I was assigned at the time. And I would put this thing on and we would crank it up to 11. If the stereo went to 10, we turned it up to 11 and had a rocking good time with the Beatles in Italy. Let me tell you, because this is a great album to rock out to have some chili dogs, eat some pizza, have some beer and Pepsi. This is the one to do it to. Because if you want to have a Beatles rock and roll party, you need the Beatles in Italy, folks. And it's still available out there. Like I said, original copies might be a little pricey. That originally came out on Parlophone back in the day. But like I said, it was reissued in the 80s in both mono and stereo. And as I said, this is what the label looks like on that 80s version, the one I got in the 1980s. So, folks, highly, highly recommended. The Beatles in Italy. Look for it. Check it out. Listen to it. Come back here and tell me what you think of it. Because, you know, folks, whether you're a new fan, which I love the newer fans out there and younger fans, or an older fan, if you've never heard this, you need to. Because it has a really cool, unique sound to it, the way it's mixed, the way it was mastered, and the track listing is absolutely stunning and perfect. So, folks, that's it for this episode of the Beatles Album Spotlight Series, Beatles in Italy. I hope you enjoyed this import compilation album, which originally was released for the Italian leg of that 65 tour. And folks, if you'd like to see more content like this, I'm going to keep it going, keep the machine going. Please like and please subscribe, comment. Love to hear from you. Subscriptions help my channel grow. Thank you so much, everybody. Love you all. Talk soon. Bye-bye.